yes, Guy was an inspiration because he was my uncle, but he was only 10 years older than me, and we had a great bond of friendship, and he went off to the war, did very well as a bomber pilot, bombing Germany at night time. And I suppose he was an inspiration to me, that when my time came, I turned 18, I wanted to join the Air Force. Now, it wasn't entirely due to Guy, because the infantry don't get a nice bed to sleep in at night time, whereas people in the Air Force, if they're fortunate, they go out and they do what they have to do, and they come home to a hut and a bed and somewhere to eat. So, in a way, I think it's a sort of privileged lifestyle compared to the poor old army boys. Navy, not so bad. They've got bunks to sleep in, and we're a bit soft, I guess, in Air Force and maybe Navy to the poor old army. So
I understand.
that might have had something to do with it. It wasn't that I was interested particularly in flying. I didn't think I was, but I thought that as a job, as a role to play, that I'd give it my best shot. One of the sad things about training is that there were quite a number of boys killed in accidents, and that must have been devastating for their parents, because we were all 18 and 19 years of age, only boys really. Bad enough to be killed in the war, but that's got to be expected. And the strange thing about it, I just go back to year and Quinty, it used to go in batches. There'd be 5, 6, 7 fellas killed, all in a matter of a few days.
Oh.
Accidents. Go away, nobody get killed for another 6 weeks. Then you get 3, 4 or 5 killed again.
Wow.
And my good mate of mine was killed in our training in Mildura. I don't know what happened, but he flew into the back of an instructor's Kitty Hawk. The instructor got home okay. The feet just went in a slow spiral, down, boom. I think that unfortunately, human beings are going to be having them from time to time, because if we've got someone who is transgressing against what we believe is, let's call it our democratic way of life, then I don't think we've got any alternative other than to say, no, you don't. So we've now had a period that hasn't had the world involvement that we've had with 2 great wars. But I think it's one of the tragedies of the human race that we're not going to be able to have a clean sheet from however long we're going on to say, no, we can all live quietly and peacefully, unless we can find a number of people like old Mahatma Gandhi, because he, I think, is the most amazing man. I don't know enough about our history over 2,000 years, but he must be the most amazing man, that he united 300 to 400 million Indians of half a dozen different religious sects, all with gentleness and kindness. He must have had some wonderful magic about him.
Some wonderful power.
That he was able to be influential on so many people. Well, I think it's tremendously important, because all the conflicts that we've been involved with, we've only been involved with those because we believe we had to say, no, you don't. It's not on. So what's happened with that? Hundreds of thousands of our people have been killed, paid the supreme sacrifice. Even as I said to you, those boys that were killed in training. It happens in all the services. I don't know what the figures would be, but it'd be quite alarming to know the number of boys who died without ever getting up to the front. And so, those sacrifices that have been made, because it is a sacrifice to give up some years of your life with the knowledge that that might be the end of the road for you. Those people have to be remembered and honoured. And fortunately, a lot came home, thank goodness. But they also have to be honoured, even though they were spared and they, in most cases, lived a fairly normal life. Leave you with 5 things that's made my life so wonderful. Number 1 has to be Leslie.
Right.
My good fortune in having her for my wife. And grandmother, great-grandmother, she's fantastic. Number 2 was the wonderful upbringing I had at home in a stable family unit where I was taught about character and integrity and doing the right thing, and had no trouble walking down that path. Number 3 was I've never been clever enough to describe how fortunate I feel that I was born and live in this country. I know how to walk in style than anybody else in the world. I've had good health, I've had a job. So if you couldn't be happy with that, we wouldn't have a psychiatrist in this country clever enough to fix you up. So there it is. So what we've got to do is that, my worry is that we've got to have stable environment, we've got to teach the children. Sounds simple, doesn't it? Just to be kindly disposed towards fellow human beings and helpful where we can. Sounds easy, but I don't think it's happening to the extent it used to in my day. We didn't mind discipline. We have to have discipline in society, otherwise you have chaos. I thought of applying for a job with Land in a spring mattress people. Bit of a difference from going back to uni. But a fellow called Alan Toohey on TUE Sydney, he was called the Old Smoothie. That was the first inner spring mattresses that came out, Land. And I thought, if I could get a job with Land in the main window of David Jones, Elizabeth Street, Sydney, with somebody like you as a partner in a double bed, that would have suited me down to the ground. Advertise Land in the spring mattresses.